There's one lie almost every man over 60 believes, and it's killing them, not physically, though it might be doing that too, but mentally, emotionally, spiritually. This lie is the difference between men who thrive after 60 and men who fade. So let me tell you exactly what it is. It's too late to start over. That's the lie, and I hear it constantly. Different words, same meaning. I'm too old. That ship has sailed. I had my chance. The world's moved on without me. It shows up in 1,000 variations, but it's always the same core belief that the window for new beginnings has closed. And here's the brutal truth: they believe it because it's easier to hide behind that lie than to face the fear of starting from zero again. Let me break down why men fall for this lie and what it's actually costing them. You've spent decades building your identity on being competent, in control, needed. You knew what you were doing. You had your place. You were good at something, and people knew it. But then the world shifts. Careers end. Kids move on. Relevance fades. And suddenly, starting over, whether in business, learning a new skill, building new relationships, moving to a new location, would mean stepping into uncertainty, maybe even failure, and that threatens your pride. So you choose the lie. You call it acceptance, maturity, being realistic, but it's really surrender dressed up as wisdom. Because the truth is, you're not too old, you're too scared. And instead of admitting that fear, you hide behind age as the excuse. Now, I'm not saying this to be cruel, I get it. Starting over is terrifying at any age. But at 60 and beyond, when you've already built something, when you've already proven yourself, the thought of being a beginner again feels humiliating, like you're erasing everything you've done, like you're admitting you failed the first time. But here's what you're missing: starting over isn't erasing what you've built, it's using what you've learned to build something new. You're not starting from zero, you're starting from experience, from wisdom, from decades of knowing what works and what doesn't. That's not a disadvantage, that's a weapon. And the real tragedy isn't that you might fail at something new. It's that the moment you stop believing in new beginnings, you quietly start dying while you're still alive. If you're sitting here realizing how many times you've told yourself this lie, how many opportunities you've passed on because you believed it was too late, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell, because we're about to break down what this lie is really costing you and why rejecting it might be the most important decision you make. So, what does this lie cost you? First, it costs you purpose. When you believe it's too late, you stop looking for what's next. You settle into maintenance mode. You're not building anymore, you're just managing decline. And that's soul crushing because men aren't built to coast. You're built to create, to challenge yourselves, to push towards something. Without that, you're just marking time until the end. Second, it costs you growth. You stop learning. You stop trying new things. You dismiss opportunities because I'm too old for that. And your world gets smaller, your mind gets duller, your spirit gets weaker, because growth doesn't stop at 60 unless you decide it does. Third, it costs you respect from yourself and from others. People can sense when you've given up, when you've stopped believing in your own potential, and they treat you accordingly. You become the guy who's stuck in the past, who talks about what he used to do instead of what he's doing now. And that's not respect, that's pity. And fourth, it costs you time. Because every year you spend believing this lie is a year you could have spent building something new, learning something valuable, becoming someone different. And you don't get that time back. Be honest. Have you told yourself this lie or are you fighting against it? Drop a comment and let me know. Because I know most of you have bought into this at some point, and admitting it is the first step to breaking free from it. Here's what I need you to understand: the men who thrive after 60 aren't the ones who had it easier. They're the ones who refused to believe the lie. They're the ones who said, I'm scared, but I'm doing it anyway. They're the ones who started businesses in their 60s, who learned new skills in their 70s, who built new relationships, moved to new places, reinvented themselves when everyone else was settling. And they're not superhuman. They're just men who didn't let fear masquerade as realism. So, what's the truth? The truth is, it's not too late, not even close. You've got decades of experience that most people would kill for. You've got perspective. You've got skills. You've got time, more than you think. And you've got a choice. You can keep believing the lie. You can keep telling yourself it's too late, that you're too old, that the world doesn't need what you have. And you can coast into irrelevance, watching life pass you by while you sit on the sidelines. Or you can reject the lie. You can admit that you're scared, but do it anyway. You can start something new, learn something hard, build something meaningful, not because it's easy, but because you refuse to die while you're still breathing. The lie says it's too late. The truth says you've never been more ready. So, which one are you going to believe? I'll see you in the next one.